The week passed under the sign of anticipation of the impending offensive of the Rashists. Observers speculated about the scale and direction of the imminent offensive, citing some insane numbers of troops assembled by Putin, from 300,000 to 500,000. Meanwhile, if a year ago the 180,000-strong army of the aggressor could be seen as it moved and grouped, then the current one seems to be dissolved in the air or turned into an invisible horde. In any case, Putin demands the capture of the entire Donbass. He needs success for another pumping of the plebs with the poison of victory. Parasitizing on dates such as the anniversary of the Battle of Stalingrad also helps, but I want something real. In the meantime, we have to get out, ridiculously informing the Harrys that the true goal of the war is no longer the capture of Ukraine, but the preservation of Russia. Such wobble from side to side does not give stability to the vertical structure. Yes, and on the upper floors of the gang yearned for a clear message. They needed to build confidence that everything is going according to plan, and the leader has a clear vision of the horizons of the future. To cause confusion in the camp of the enemy, disinformation was thrown through two unnamed sources from Germany. The Swiss Neue Zürcher Zeitung, whose views are close to the program of the Radical Democratic Party, published sensational material that the head of the CIA, William Burns, allegedly offered in January to give Ukraine 20% of its territories in exchange for peace. The same was allegedly offered to Moscow, but both sides refused. The White House has already denied this version. White House National Security Council spokesman Sean Davitt said the newspaper's allegations were not true and the CIA would say the same. In a word, the duck did not take root, and even Peskov was forced to refute this stuffing. Though it was a good try, at the same time, the United States is declaring its readiness to transfer to Ukraine precision-guided bombs capable of hitting a distance of 160 kilometers, which is twice the range of standard missiles from HIMARS. And from Italy, within 7 to 8 weeks, Ukraine will receive air defense systems capable of intercepting 10 targets simultaneously, which will significantly strengthen the air defense forces. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military is reporting an accelerated pace of training on the development of the American Patriot air defense systems, which will allow the course to be completed in a matter of weeks. All this background, coupled with the rapid deliveries of heavy armored vehicles to Ukraine, are pushing Putin and his army to launch an offensive as soon as possible. They call the date February 12 with the mirror date of the message already February 21. Hope for the political fatigue of Europe and the United States from the Ukrainian war did not work, so in the same Volgograd, Putin again had to shake up the nuclear purse. After all, it's obvious, if in May 2022 the cave with fanfare and hooting was prepared for the triumphal victory parade like the 45th, now that everything went wrong, I had to roll back to the Stalingrad theme of the 43rd with a sour face. And victory is not visible from the word at all. With money for the war, it also becomes difficult. The Ministry of Finance reported that the size of the discount on Russian oil exceeded 40%. Bonded mud is on sale for $20 less than budget benchmarks. If last year the Ministry of Finance planned a budget deficit for 2023 in the amount of almost 3 trillion rubles, now experts do not exclude an increase in the budget hole to 6 trillion. Nevertheless, according to VSIM, Putin's support at the end of January 2023 amounted to more than 75%. The ruling unit is supported by more than 38% of deep hunters, the communists, by more than 10%. But these are all games for furry fasteners. On the upper Dubai deck, the Golden Youth does not even storm. Here, the February poster begins with a party of Peter Listermann, and ends with a concert by Posner and Urgant. The cunning propagandist Posner still has not given an assessment of Putin's aggression. And why? He is well fed. However, in the West, the smell of cave assets increasingly makes you wince. The Politico edition found an apartment in Davos for €3 million, owned by Putin's ex-wife, Ludmila, and her current special husband, Arturo Karatny. This couple also recorded 2 more apartments in Spanish Marbella for €800,000 and €1 million. Without a roof over their heads, they obviously will not be left, unless, of course, they are covered by the sanctions copper basin. However, the cave snaps as it can. In Crimea, the property of Akhmedov, Kolomoisky, and other Ukrainian politicians and businessmen was nationalized. In total, about 500 objects were scratched, and a discussion unfolded in the cave, why the Crimean property of Zelensky himself has not yet been squeezed out. After all, this is the most delicious. On Friday, Putin held a regular meeting of the Security Council Politburo. The whisperers offered their last thoughts before the coming revanchist rush, which will either bring a semblance of victory or cause tensions to rise up to a nuclear flare. At the same time, there is a feeling that Putin has already made all the decisions for himself, and only the last question remains: if there is a fork in the road, which path will he choose? Dictatorship, conservation regime for decades with imitation of victory, or nuclear dust?